You have a box of salt in your kitchen right now. Maybe it has a little girl with an umbrella on it. Maybe it says sea salt in clean minimalist font. Maybe it cost you less than $2 and you figured it's salt. How complicated can it be? One ingredient, the most ancient seasoning in human history. Here is what the label is not telling you. That box almost certainly contains a sugar derived from corn. It contains a compound in the same chemical family as the anti-caking agents used in photography labs. And in many cases, it contains a substance flagged by the European Food Safety Authority for further safety review. None of that is on the front of the box. None of it is highlighted in bold. It is buried in small print at the bottom of the ingredient list, hidden behind the word salt, like a footnote in a contract you never signed. Americans spend over $2 billion every single year on table salt. Every single year. And the overwhelming majority of that money goes to products that are not, in any meaningful sense, pure salt. I spent 3 weeks auditing every salt brand on the shelf to find the truth, and the results were not what I expected. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which 5 brands to put back on the shelf and which 5 to actually bring home. Stick around because one of the winners costs less than $3 and contains exactly 1 ingredient. Let's start with the chemistry because that is where the story really begins. Real, unrefined salt, the kind pulled from ancient seabeds or harvested from coastal flats, is naturally rich in trace minerals. It is slightly off-white or gray or pink depending on where it comes from, and left alone it does not clump. The problem starts when you industrialize it. Modern table salt is not simply mined and packaged. It is dissolved in water, purified through a chemical process that strips out almost every trace mineral, then recrystallized and dried at extremely high temperatures. What you get is a product that is chemically close to 100% sodium chloride, perfectly white, perfectly uniform, and completely unstable on a shelf in a humid kitchen. Here is the math reality. To make that industrially refined salt flow freely without additives, you need to control humidity from the mine to the store shelf. You need moisture-resistant packaging. You need slower, more careful processing. That costs money. So instead, manufacturers add anti-caking agents, compounds like calcium silicate, sodium aluminosilicate, or yellow prussiate of soda, also known as sodium ferrocyanide, at up to 2% of the total product weight. The FDA permits this under 21 CFR Part 172. The regulation allows these additives. It does not require the front label to call them out. Then there is the dextrose problem. Iodized salt, the kind most Americans buy, contains added potassium iodide. Potassium iodide is unstable. It oxidizes and degrades when exposed to light and heat. So manufacturers add dextrose, a corn-derived sugar, as a stabilizer to protect it. Your salt contains sugar, a very small amount, yes, but sugar nonetheless. And the label simply lists it after salt and potassium iodide, as if it is an afterthought, because legally it is allowed to be. This is not a health lecture. This is an audit, and the audit shows you are paying for a product marketed as pure while receiving a product engineered for shelf stability. 5 brands to skip. Brand 1, Morton Iodized Table. Salt, Morton is the most recognized salt brand in America. The blue box is iconic. The marketing leans on words like pure and iodized for health. Flip the box. The ingredient list reads salt, calcium silicate, dextrose, potassium iodide. That is 4 ingredients in a product whose entire identity is built on being a single ingredient. Calcium silicate is the anti-caking agent. Dextrose is the sugar stabilizer. This is not exceptional. It is the industry standard, but that is exactly the problem. Morton has normalized a 4-ingredient salt and trained 2 generations of consumers to call it pure. Brand 2, Morton Canning and Pickling Salt. This one gets marketed to the health-conscious crowd. No iodine, no additives. That is what the front of the bag suggests. And for pickling specifically, Morton does sell a relatively clean version. But their broader canning and pickling line, depending on the regional, product has been found to contain sodium aluminosilicate as an anti-caking agent. Sodium aluminosilicate is an aluminum-based compound. The European Food Safety Authority has flagged aluminum compounds in food for further safety evaluation. The label does not mention aluminum. It mentions nothing alarming at all. The ingredient list tells a different story. Brand 3, Great Value, Iodized Salt. Great Value is Walmart's store brand, and it sits at the bottom of the price ladder. The logic is simple. Cheap salt is cheap salt. But the ingredient list on Great Value iodized salt includes yellow prussiate of soda, the commercial name for sodium ferrocyanide. Ferrocyanide. That word alone should give you pause. Manufacturers will tell you the compound is chemically stable and safe in trace amounts and regulators permit it. but you are buying something called pure salt and receiving a product that contains a ferrocyanide compound. That gap between marketing and chemistry is exactly what this channel exists to expose. Brand 4, Diamond Crystal Kosher Salt. Commercial grade. Diamond Crystal has a strong reputation in professional kitchens, and its standard kosher salt is actually a cleaner product. But the commercial grade and bulk version sold through food service suppliers and some retail channels contain added anti-caking agents to survive warehouse storage conditions. The word kosher on the label is a religious certification about production process. It says nothing about additive content. Consumers see kosher and assume purity. The ingredient list is the only place that assumption gets tested. Brand 5, store brand and discount table salts. This is a category, not a single brand. Aldi, Target's Good and Gather line. Regional grocery store labels. Nearly every discount table salt in America sources from the same 2 or 3 industrial processors and repackages under a private label. The formulations are almost identical to Morton: calcium silicate, dextrose, potassium iodide. The difference is you do not even get the brand equity. You are paying for the cheapest possible version of an already compromised product and receiving exactly that. Before we get to the good news, here is how you audit the salt already in your kitchen. 3 tests, 30 seconds, no equipment required. Test 1, the ingredient count test. Pick up your salt. Turn it over, count the ingredients. If there is more than one, your salt has been engineered. Pure salt has exactly 1 ingredient on the label, salt. That is it. If you see calcium silicate, dextrose, yellow prussiate of soda, or sodium aluminosilicate, you are holding a processed product dressed up as a pantry staple. Test 2, the color test. Pure, unrefined salt is not brilliant white. It is off-white, light gray, faint pink, and or beige depending on its mineral content. If your salt looks like fresh printer paper, a perfect, stark white, it has been bleached and chemically stripped. That color is not natural. It is manufactured. Test 3, the dissolve test. Drop a small pinch of your salt into a glass of water and stir. Pure salt dissolves completely and leaves the water crystal clear. Heavily processed salt with anti-caking compounds can leave a faint cloudiness or a slightly altered taste. It is not dramatic, but it is real. Your tongue already knew something was different. Now you know why. 5 brands that are actually pure salt. Brand 1, Redmond Real Salt. Redmond is mined from an ancient seabed in Redmond, Utah. Like Knoll sites, we're up to Rabbit's Road, where a deposit laid down over 60 million years ago, long before modern industrial pollution existed in any ocean. The ingredient list contains one word, salt. No anti-caking agents, no stabilizers, no sugar. The company has been family-owned since 1958 and has built its entire brand identity around the concept of doing nothing to the salt except getting it out of the ground and into a bag. It retails for around $4 to $5 for a 16-ounce package, less than 30 cents per serving. It is the value play on this entire list. Brand 2, Malden Sea. Salt flakes. Malden has been harvesting salt from the Blackwater estuary in Essex, England since 1880. 146 years of the same process. The ingredient list, salt. That is the entire list. Malden is hand harvested in open pans, which produces its signature pyramid-shaped flakes rich in natural trace minerals. It is priced at a premium, $7 to $9 for an 8.5 ounce box, but it is used as a finishing salt, so a box lasts months. Per use, it is not extravagant. Brand 3, Celtic Sea Salt, Selena Naturally. Celtic sea salt is harvested from the coastal clay beds of Brittany, France, using methods that date back over 2,000 years. The gray color is not a defect. It is the natural mineral content retained by the clay harvesting process. The ingredient list, salt, Selena. Naturally, the brand behind Celtic Sea Salt has maintained third-party mineral testing and publishes its results publicly. That transparency alone puts it in a different category from every brand on the skip list. Brand 4, Saltworks Pure Ocean Sea. Saltworks is an American company based in Washington State. Their Pure Ocean line is solar evaporated, meaning the water evaporates naturally under sunlight rather than being pushed through industrial heat dryers. The result is salt that retains its natural structure. One ingredient, salt. It is widely available online and in specialty grocery stores, typically priced between $5 and $7 for a pound. The company also publishes a full certificate of analysis for its products, a level of accountability that most mainstream salt brands have never been asked to provide and have never volunteered. Brand 5, Baleine. Fine sea salt, plain, unionized. Baleine is a French sea salt brand widely available in American grocery stores, often stocked right next to Morton and Great Value. The plain unionized version, and it must be the plain version, contains one ingredient, salt. It is harvested from the Atlantic coast of France. The price point is competitive with mid-range mainstream brands at around $3 for a canister. This is the proof that you do not have to pay a specialty premium to get pure salt. You just have to read the label. Salt is the oldest food ingredient in human civilization. Empires were built on it, wars were fought over it. The very word salary traces directly back to the Latin word for salt. And after all of that history, after thousands of years of humanity understanding that salt is salt, the modern food industry took that single ingredient and quietly added a sugar, an aluminum compound, and a ferrocyanide derivative to it, and kept calling it pure. Your health is not a commodity for these corporations to optimize. Neither is your trust. The fix here is not complicated. It does not require a specialty store or an expensive habit. It requires 30 seconds and the ability to count to one. One ingredient, salt. That is the entire standard. Every brand on the real list meets it. Every brand on the skip list fails it. The label tells the truth, if you know how to read it. Subscribe because you have the right to know what is really in your food.